Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while. I ended up moving, so I'm not in Texas anymore. I am now in the other great state of Florida, two great states in the US. And today we're gonna be doing a video, probably as you guys know, if you're not new, my A86 with ITBs. This video is gonna be going over everything that you need to know before getting yourself into the biggest headache you'll ever have, and that's ITBs. It's not all bad. I love my car, and it's so much more fun to drive when you have ITBs. People say it only adds like 10 horsepower, but it's not the horsepower, it's a throttle response that's insane. Once you drive a car like this, it feels like you're driving a race car, and I don't think you can really replicate this with any other type of turbo, supercharger, anything like that. I think ITBs are just the best if you're going for the A86 experience. Throttle response is insane, and it just, I don't know, just makes the car a whole new monster. ITBs have made this car my favorite car to drive. I always think about selling it. Okay, maybe I want to get something different. Maybe I want to get a D250, maybe a W250, or like 69 Nova or something like that. But then when I drive this thing, I remember why I love it so much, and that's partially because of the ITBs. So a lot of videos on the internet are dogging ITBs, saying they suck, you should not do it, it's not worth the 10 horsepower. And although that might be true, it does cost a lot of money to do, and I've spent a lot of money to get my car the way it is. I wouldn't change it out for anything. I won't put a turbo, I won't put a supercharger. ITBs are the way to go on an 8.6. Another car that I'd definitely consider putting ITBs on is a Miata. Those things are great. I also see a lot of people do it on like EK Civics, a lot of older Hondas. Pretty much any car that's slow, but they want to make it fun, they put ITBs on. So first thing on my list is, have you ever wanted to have one of those very clean engine bays that almost has nothing in it? Well, if you're going with ITBs, that's probably going to be the case. As you see right now, I've never ever wanted to get rid of my heat. My AC was already gone, but over there the heater valve is missing because it's in the way of the Piper Cross filter right here that protects ITBs from, you know, dirt getting sucked into the engine. That's no good. So if you're running ITBs, make sure to run a filter. And with this filter, because it's so big and bulky, that's the adapter plate down there. You have to remove a ton of stuff. So there's no chance of me running AC lines. The AC holes for the firewall are right there, and they would go right in front of the Piper Cross filter. So if I had those lines, I would never be able to change out this Piper Cross filter or clean it or anything like that without totally taking apart the AC system. And that seems like a lot of work. Now, one good thing is, you'll have more space because you're not gonna have a cold air intake anymore. All this space is freed up over here, and so far I put nothing there, but I plan to put like a catch can here or over here somewhere. But it definitely does clear up a lot of space while also taking up a lot of space, so it's just, you gotta do a little bit of rigmarole to get everything to fit. Another thing that the base plate almost collides with, but I'm so glad it barely clears, is the throttle cable bracket. This thing touches the base plate, but good thing is it's not enough to affect it. Yeah, so that's number one. You're gonna have to get rid of a lot of stuff, and you're gonna have to add a lot of stuff. And that gets into my next point. A lot of custom work to get this thing done. Right here, you can see one of my velocity stacks. It has a welded bung on it for the air sensor. It doesn't look the best, but it needed to be there. And yeah, so that's one thing that I had to get done. I don't know how to weld, so I had to go to a welder, and that's kind of an odd request. It was kind of hard finding somebody, and everybody wanted an arm and leg for welding. Another thing that's custom that this adapter is in the way, I will try to show you. This right here, all four of these lines is the vacuum lines going to the vacuum block, and that vacuum block doesn't have a bracket for the A86. I'm not good at bending metal, so what did I have to do? I had to find a bracket that went to some audio thing that worked perfectly, and yeah, so that actually turned out really good. Like I said earlier in the video, I'm working on the heater valve right now to twist the line so that it clears the adapter plate. Another thing that was custom for me, because I had to get a small port ITB adapter instead of a big port, this big port SQ engineering bracket didn't fit. So what I had to do, I had a buddy custom make these little extensions to go over the fuel rail and to clear everything out. I also had to grind down this section of the ITB, both on this one and that one over there, the two middle ones, just so that the fuel rail could fit. And on this side of the motor, I had to use a K24 oil pressure adapter that split the 1 into 3 over here just for it to fit, because there was no specific one for an A86 ITB conversion. Now those are just a couple examples that I had to do, not all of them, but I just wanted to show you that there's a lot of fine tuning and adjusting, customization to get everything to work properly and together. And also, you know, I also had to do the coil and plug setup. Now that was not mandatory, and that's what brings me to my third point, is get everything out of the way that you want to do. So make sure everything is in the position you want it before getting your car tuned. Because these right here, I think I spent like $400, $500 to get the adapter plate and the coil packs and everything like that, and then the wiring harness. And if I did the ITBs, I got it tuned. I put the coil packs on there, I'd have to get it retuned. So as my Buddy Club exhaust right here. The Buddy Club exhaust almost has no restraints, no mufflers. It's just pretty much a straight pipe. So if I change it to, say, one of the Fujitsubo ones that has a big muffler on it, I'm gonna have to get it retuned. So is the stacks. If you change the stacks, you gotta get it retuned. If you change the base position for the butterflies, you gotta get it retuned. So every single time you touch this thing, you gotta get it retuned. So make sure you do everything you wanna do before getting it tuned, so you don't waste a lot of money. The next tip is find a good tuner. Now, every tuner is gonna probably lie to you and say, yeah, I've tuned a couple of these before if you ask, but make sure to do a thorough investigation on the guy and make sure he's the guy that you wanna spend your money with, because most likely he's not gonna refund you if the car doesn't really run well. Make sure he's done a couple before. Make sure he knows how to do ITBs, and if he has pictures or a review on Google that says, hey, I took my car with ITBs here and now it runs great, well, that's probably the guy you should go to. But a lot of tuners will just say, yeah, I've done these before. Yeah, of course I know how to tune a car, when they really haven't. And then you get your car back and you're like, man, it kind of runs, it kind of doesn't. It's running rich and it's really jittery and sometimes stalls. And not every tuner can tune ITBs. So it has to be somebody who's really knowledgeable about this. And that's what I kind of want to stress, is do your due diligence, because this is the part that will make or break your ITB setup. If you get a great tuner, he could even give you some tips to make your setup, your mechanical setup, better, because he's seen it on other cars, which was the case for me. Comp JLT, Jared did mine in Victoria, Texas. Now I'm far away from him and I'm thinking, well, damn, how am I gonna get my car retuned if I ever want to change anything? I don't know anybody out here that knows how to tune. I found one shop, I asked them, hey, can you tune ITBs? Oh yeah, of course, sure, my guy's the best. Okay, hasn't he done any before? Oh yeah, sure, yeah. What car has he done it on? He's done it on one of them cars that has ITBs. Okay, well, do you have a picture? Do you have a review? Is there anything you can show me that you've said you've done it? No, it was actually kind of a while ago, and you know, now that I think of it, you know, I think it might have been a turbo. And he's probably like, I thought you were talking about intake turbo big or something like that. You know, it's just like, some people will lie and you want to watch out for those people, because once an ITB setup is tuned correctly, you probably never have to worry about it again. You don't have to get it retuned. It's tuned incorrectly, the thing won't last you a damn minute. Now the next thing I want to let you guys know about is syncing your ITBs. Pretty much you have this little tool that I don't have. You stick it in here and it'll tell you a value. You stick it in the next one, it'll tell you a value, and you try to make them all the same. Now the problem with this is sometimes you don't do that till after you get it tuned. And like I said, if I mess with this, I'd probably have to get it retuned. And I spent like $1,000 on the tune, so I'm definitely not doing that. Now this is where the debate comes in. Some people say you don't need it, and a lot of people actually say you don't need it, where they've tuned their cars without syncing them at all. I mean, if the values are like crazy off, then I would definitely sync them no matter what. But if they're off by like 2, 3, 4, people just go ahead and do it and they have no problems. Other people on the other hand say that if you don't, your engine's gonna blow up or something crazy. But finding any hardcore proof is pretty much hard to find. Some people say that even if there is a difference between the air going in the cylinders, it will all be equalized out in the vacuum block. So who knows what the actual truth is. If you want to share your 2 cents about it, leave it in the comments below so other people can see it and make their own decision about it. Another not so good thing about having ITBs is everybody thinks they know what they're talking about when it comes to ITBs, but they really do not. And just like it's hard to find a tuner, it's also hard to find somebody that knows what they're talking about. Now, I'm not saying I know what I'm talking about, but I've met a lot of people that they'll spread false information, or they'll say this sucks, or they'll say they did it on their car and it didn't work out, or they know this tip and it actually ends up not working at all and costing you a lot of money because you went off their advice, which has happened to me. So definitely look into that. Make sure you check your sources just like you do at, I don't know, school or something, and make sure the people you're trusting, you can actually trust. For example, a lot of people say you don't need this air sensor that's right here on the velocity stack. Now I met somebody that is the most knowledgeable person I've ever met in my life about 8.6s, and he told me, you gotta put on the velocity stack or it's not gonna read properly. So I trusted him and it's worked out so far. A lot of other people would have put it on the vacuum block down there and got an inaccurate reading. Another thing that sucks is almost everybody seems to have a different setup. You know, there's black top ITBs, silver top ITBs, and a lot of people use 4AG ITBs on everything. So then you've got, you know, the different adapters. You've got the different versions of the 4AGE. So you have different intake adapters, which ends up having clearance issues with something else. So even if someone says, oh yeah, just flip this, do this to make it not hit your filter, well, guess what? It's still gonna probably hit because you have something different than he does, and somehow it just doesn't fit. So just because you found one build on the internet and you're gonna copy it exactly to the T, things might not go as expected as you thought. Now, a big misconception with ITBs is you can't daily drive them. You can definitely daily drive them if you're not worried about having AC, or if you do custom work and make all that fit, then even better for you, you're gonna have a car with AC and heat. But if you don't do that and you're just worrying about the car daily driving, like driving down the road, that's all you care about, and you want ITBs, you'll be perfectly fine. It drives like a car with a regular intake and one throttle body. It's just if you do it right. If you don't do it right, the thing, like I said earlier, it will be a piece of crap. That thing won't move 5 feet out the garage, and it will look cool in the garage. You can push it or tow it to a car meet. But if you get a good setup, a good tuner, and everything is correct, you can definitely daily drive these, especially with the filter. And that's one thing that you definitely should have. Never run open ITBs unless you're at a car meet or car show. It's just not worth it. You want your engine to last that you just spent $5,000 on, don't skip out on a filter. Now, if you're still wanting to do ITBs, good for you, because you're gonna love them once it's finally done. It's gonna be a pain in the butt process. I think mine took me 2 years to do, dial in, get every custom part finished, get everything working properly, not colliding with each other. And now that I have it running, I love it. And I don't think I'll ever go back unless something breaks, and then I might change my mind. So I know this is a little bit different video. This is more of like an informative video, not just like working on cars or like a buyer's guide. But I wish I had a video like this that told me the pros and cons kind of what I was getting into when I was looking into getting ITBs. So hope you guys did enjoy the video. Hopefully this helped you decide if you want ITBs or not. Make sure to leave a comment down below what you think about it. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.